Welcome, friends. Let us together rebuild this world so that we may live, laugh, and lore.
I was going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
I can bring you in warm, or I can bring you in cold.
Not listening. I'm not listening.
Oh, that took.
Program loaded and ready.
Make it so.
Welcome to the Live, Laugh, Lore podcast. We're your host. I'm Tony.
And I'm Mark.
And today we have a intro into Marvels.
Mm-hmm.
So, full disclosure, full transparency, this is Mark's thing, through and through. We were kind of talking back and forth. We're like, man, we should really do some like Marvel DC stuff. And I was just shocked with the amount of lore Mark was able to just blast out right when we're, without a computer in front of him. We were just going beat for beat on all these different phases of the MCU and everything like that. I've seen a little bit of the movies here and there, probably the majority of the movies, but yeah, the TV shows I was really into. I read a little bit of the comics just because I was reading Star Wars comics, and then which was through the Marvel and Unlimited app, and I really enjoyed those comics. And so there's a time where I was like, man, I'm on this Marvel app. It feels weird just reading Star Wars comics, so let's just find my favorite character and, Doctor Strange, Thor, what comic book? And I can finally understand the Big Bang Theory joke when they're like, hey, what's your favorite comic? And he's like, dude, do you want to start a Rumble?
Yeah.
Because honestly, it's like saying, hey, I really want to read Thor. That is such a loaded question. It's like, which Thor? What artist? And it just like builds up and what multiverse and this and this. So getting into the comics books is much more of a Herculean task than I was expecting. But yeah, without further ado, just want to kind of give my 2 cents on it. But yeah, Mark, want to take it away?
Yeah, so I haven't really done much with the comics. This is going to be more of the movies and the TV shows in the MCU, which stands for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And yeah, so I've seen all the movies and most of the TV shows. The only TV shows I haven't seen, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Agent Carter, and Echo, which is a new one. I'm gonna knock those out. But I've seen all the movies and all the rest of the TV shows.
Wow.
I've got most of it in my brain.
You're the guru. You're the guru.
Yeah.
You're the point of contact.
Mm-hmm. So the MCU kicked off, Tony, in 2008.
Wow. Which is pretty crazy to think.
Just youngins, right?
And I'd guess Iron Man? What was it? Was it Iron Man?
Iron Man 1 was the kickoff to the MCU.
Yeah.
It was the first film. Now, back then, most of Marvel, was still owned by Paramount Productions.
Whoa, my gosh!
Paramount
wait,
Studios.
we were in middle school when that happened.
Yes.
Whoa. Okay, sorry. 2008 just hit me.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
So Paramount released and distributed the first few movies until Disney bought out the rights for most of them in 2012.
I did not know Paramount actually owned that.
Yeah. So
Oh, wow.
The only ones they didn't own at that time were the ones owned by Fox, which included Deadpool and the X-Men.
Okay. Didn't know that.
Universal, which still has the Incredible Hulk, and Sony, which still owns Spider-Man and the entire Spider-Verse. Now, we'll get into it a little later. It has collaborations with Universal and Sony. It has now acquired Fox, and now they own. Hence why we've got the new Deadpool coming out.
Yep.
And we're going to be jumping into more of the X-Men universe.
That's kind of wild, though, that Marvel as a whole, like, what other IP do you know that gets distributed across multiple different companies? I can't think of one off the top of my head, but you kind of see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
I mean, it's such a, like I said, it's comic books, right? This is like, my grandpa had Marvel comics, like, you know what I mean? So it's definitely a huge depth of information. So it's kind of amazing to see them get broken up. Like, how did, Sony just came in like, the Spider-Man character is really cool. Hey, Stan Lee, can I just get Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Seems kind of interesting, so.
Yep. So, like I said, it started in 2008. However, in the timeline, it's 2010. So there's always going to be a discrepancy most of the time. I shouldn't say always. Most of the time, we're a little ahead.
What's the 2010 thing?
That's just the year in which Iron Man is set.
Oh, like.
It released in 2008 in our world, right?
I see what you're saying, sorry.
In Iron Man, it is 2010.
Oh, I didn't, okay. Okay,
Yeah.
Cool. Didn't know that.
So the MCU, they broke up into, well, right now we have 2 sagas. 6 phases, 2 sagas. First saga, known as the Infinity Saga, is phases 1, 2, and 3. And that goes through Infinity Endgame.
Oh, gotcha.
And then now the new stuff is called the Multiverse Saga, which we're expanding into the multiverse, and it's kind of Marvel's reset button to be able to bring anything they want into the universe, right?
How can we squeeze more money?
Exactly.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
kind of their cheat code, essentially.
Yeah.
So phase 1 started. There's 6 movies. Okay, there's Iron Man, The Incredible Hulk.
Whoa, which Incredible Hulk?
Yeah, so there are a couple. The most recent one with Edward Norton starring in it is the one that's considered part of the MCU.
Yeah, that was with Arwen.
Correct.
Liv Tyler.
Liv Tyler.
Yeah.
Arwen is her character in The Lord of the Rings for our listeners. She plays Dr.
She was
Elizabeth Ross, I believe is what her name is.
Yeah. Daughter
And
of the General.
Daughter of the General, who plays a significant role in the MCU, and he's actually getting his own movie, The Thunderbolts. The
cool.
original actor recently passed away, and Harrison Ford has been recast as Thunderbolt Ross.
Oh, wow.
And that movie, I think, is coming out later this year or maybe early next year. I have it in my notes when we
Crazy to
get there.
see Harrison Ford still releasing movies. you
Right?
know?
Exactly.
Okay, all right.
I mean, he was like the one big guy that hadn't been in a Marvel movie yet, so they were like, yeah.
Yeah, let's bring him in. Why not?
Yeah. So after The Incredible Hulk, you have Iron Man 2, Thor 1, Captain America, and then the Avengers, the first Avengers. Now, that was the release order. And so Marvel's thing is after the movies, after the end credits, they always have an end credits scene.
Oh, that bleeds into the next one. That's why people say during my first Marvel movie, I was looking around, I was like, dude, what is everyone doing? Like,
Yeah.
the credits were up. It's not School of Rock where they're still playing you out, so you're watching Jack Black, point out the names and stuff. Because there's just literally just music and credits. I didn't know what to expect.
Right. No one knew when Iron Man came out that this was going to be a thing they do for all of their movies. So, like I said, that was the release order. Now, the end credit scenes reflect or, give a teaser to the movie that's about to be released, next release. Now, these are not chronological. Most of them are, but really the only one in this set that wasn't chronological is Captain America, because that was set during World War II. The rest kind of follow boom, 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 almost same time, if not closely after each other.
Yep.
So this portion, Phase 1, which lasted, it was released from 2008 to 2012, right? So The Avengers was the first Disney Marvel movie released. Before that, they were still
Not
Paramount.
even Captain America.
Nope. Captain America was 2011, so it was still before the buyout from Disney.
Yep.
But in the MCU universe, it's from the 1940s, World War II, 2010 through 2012. So this portion has a lot of introduction
Yep.
to the Avengers, right? So you got Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, Captain America. You have Hawkeye that shows up, and Black Widow, and those are the first Avengers that we see in the MCU.
Yep.
Hawkeye,
Or teamed together.
correct. Hawkeye and Black Widow don't have origin stories, but the rest do from these movies. They're just kind of part of the team.
Yep.
Black Widow gets her own movie later down the line,
Okay.
and Hawkeye gets his own TV show, but they're not origin stories. They are independent films, but they're not origin stories, right? Unlike the rest of these.
So you might get to this, but I would really want to see Hawkeye in between the snap, where he lost his family and he goes rogue. That'd be really cool.
So,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the morally gray anti-hero.
so did you watch the Hawkeye show?
No.
So it's him dealing with those effects.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, so
That's
it's
cool.
it's post blip, but it's the blip, which we'll get to, is Thanos' snap. So yeah, he goes crazy as Ronin during the blip,
Yeah,
and
Ronin.
the TV shows him trying to deal with the after effects and training a new young Avenger.
I see.
So
Cool. Yeah, sorry. Once again, didn't mean to
Yep.
put the cart before the horse, but I was just kind of curious because if they're not origin stories, then what are they focusing on?
right, like I said, this is the Infinity Saga, and the Infinity Stones are starting to be introduced here. We're not at this point. We don't really know what they do, but we know they're very powerful things.
Oh my gosh, yeah, because I was just thinking about it. The Blue Stone is in the Avengers, original Avengers.
Correct. Well, there's a couple of them in the Avengers.
Whoa, okay.
Well, so we see the Space Stone, which is the Tesseract in Captain America. Red Skull finds it in the church.
Oh, gotcha.
Yep, and then S.H.I.E.L.D. takes possession of it. At some point, Loki steals it from S.H.I.E.L.D. because he acquired the Mind Stone, which you can mind control people with. So we see those in Phase 1. So by Avengers, we see 2. However, they've been separated and kept safe. The Tesseract was taken to Asgard.
Cool.
To keep safe there. And the Mind Stone is still with S.H.I.E.L.D. And Tony Stark, and they protect it. The Mind Stone.
Gotcha.
Like I said, they still don't know what these things are. They're trying to figure it out, but they know they're like cosmic...
A lot of power.
Yeah, things. Cosmic elements. So then we move into Phase 2, which kicks off with Iron Man 3, right? Because you got to.
Classic. Yep.
And that one is really big. It's a turning point for Tony Stark because he almost died in the Avengers. And he's dealing with a lot of mental recovery from that. He saved his city, right? Then we got Thor: The Dark World, where we see another Infinity Stone, which is the Reality Stone, also known as the Ether, because it's kind of like a viscous cloud of smoke, and it can be absorbed into a host body. So in here, whoa. Thor and his girlfriend Jane, she becomes the host, but it's killing her. It's actively killing her. So they need to figure out a way to get it out. It's to save her and dispel it.
Padme Amidala, right?
Yeah, but because she's the host, she's
Keira Knightley. No.
Other one. It's Natalie Portman.
Natalie Portman.
Who is?
Yeah. Sorry, but it's killing her. It's
it
inside her,
her.
and it's
her
killing
body can't physically hold this much power. But while she has it, she can bend reality because it's the reality stone.
But the stone's not physically on her, or it's just the essence of the stone that's in her.
So the stone, it's a stone. I'm using air quotes. This one is really just a viscous smoke, and it gets absorbed into.
Oh, so she's in possession of the stone. Right?
It's her body, yeah. And so now we've seen 3. At the end of the movie, they were able to extract it and contain it, and there's this guy called the Collector, which they keep it safe there, and he just has a bunch of random things, and really it's safe there because no one's gonna think to go even if they went there, he's got so many treasures that no one would know where to look.
Gotcha. The best hiding spot is in plain sight.
Correct. Correct. We actually see Howard the Duck there when they when they drop him off,
like an actual duck.
So Howard the Duck, it's a running joke. There's like a comic, and he's literally just a talking duck, and he's voiced by Seth Green, who voices like Chris from
Family Guy and all that. Yep.
Yeah, and so it's just a little Easter egg because he really has cool. He's got no really important role or anything like that, right?
Yeah. No, that's important, Mark.
Yeah, right. It's all about the Easter eggs.
Exactly.
So after Thor: Dark World, that's Thor 2. We move into Captain America 2, which is the Winter Soldier, which he deals with, his best friend Bucky, trying to save him after he's the Winter Soldier.
Wild.
It's a big thing for Captain America. After that, they introduced the Guardians of the Galaxy. Here, we find even another stone. It's the Power Stone. And the whole point of it is not one man can hold this stone, and so together the Guardians are able to, wield this stone and save the Nova Corps.
Okay, I'm remembering this scene now. Yeah.
And after they save it, they keep the Power Stone there to keep it safe. So now we're slowly seeing all the stones, right?
We're at 4 now, right?
Mm-hmm. So after that, we get into Avengers 2, Age of Ultron. And essentially, it's a sentient being. It's a robot it's Skynet. I mean, he comes alive and he turns evil. The human race is inferior.
He's also the manager of the Dunder Mifflin paper company.
Yes, not Michael Scott, but it's Robert California.
Robert California, I can remember his name.
Yes.
You're dealing with me, Lizard Man. You didn't know my name. Yeah. I'm the freaking Lizard King.
Yeah, I'm the fracking Lizard King.
Great. But I love his
scene.
voice in Age of Ultron. Oh my gosh. Whenever he's talking, I was like, dang, dog, you got a point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, even though you're trying to take out humanity, I'm like, he's convincing me.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So in this movie, the only way to combat him is they use the Mind Stone put into Jarvis, which is Tony Stark's AI counterpart, and uses that to create the body of Vision. So now Vision's in play here.
Oh, he's so cool.
Vision is so OP. I mean, he can blast from his forehead. He doesn't bleed. I mean, he's literally a almost 3D printed human.
He's
essentially,
literally,
right?
Yeah.
So he's very powerful.
Yeah, he's the physical construct of the Mind Stone. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. So after that, Age of Ultron, the Phase 2 finishes by introducing Ant-Man because everybody loves Paul Rudd.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Paul Rudd's so perfect for that role because Ant-Man is, while he's a very strong character, in the comics, I've been told that he's just a happy-go-lucky guy, and that's why, Paul Rudd is just literally perfect to play
Exactly.
Scott Lang. So
I also love the fact that Scott Lang, all these other characters, they specifically show off their PhD. It's Doctor Strange, Doctor Who, or not Doctor Who, but Doctor Xavier.
Right.
A lot of PhDs running around, And it brought me a lot of joy because he's like, oh, yeah, I have a master's in, like, electrical engineering. And right when I watched that part of the movie, I was like, oh, my gosh, I think this is the first, like, mainstream person who's like, oh, yeah, I got a master's. Mm-hmm. So we're basically Scott Lang. We're that much closer to being Scott Lang.
Right, exactly.
You really think about it.
Yeah. So that kicks us out of Phase 2. Now, that brings us up to 2015 in the MCU timeline. So after that, it starts with Phase 3, Captain America Civil War, which is in 2016. So that one's huge, and that's a whole comic series where the Avengers are split into two.
Yep.
It's a big thing to kick off Phase 3, one led by Captain America and one led by Tony Stark. So Thunderbolt Ross, who we talked about before, is now the Secretary of State.
Oh, okay.
And based on the past two Avengers movies, there's been plenty of, while they did save the world, there's been plenty of damage to cities, countless lives lost, and so they decide to make the Avengers pretty much assets of the U.S. government. And if they wanted to not be fugitives, they had to sign, it was essentially a treaty, but it was really, they can't operate unless the U.S. government gives them
permission. I remember all this. Yeah, because Tony Stark wants him to sign it.
Yeah.
Captain America's like, no, you have to have autonomy, you know?
Correct. And so it starts a whole civil war.
Mm-hmm. And there's more to that. It's not just that. I mean,
correct.
It's all the Bucky stuff. And
yes. And
I do remember that much,
yeah.
at least.
So there's two very distinct teams. You know, you got Captain America, Black Widow's on her side.
Is this the first time you see Tom Holland as Spider-Man, too?
This is our first introduction to Spider-Man.
Because he's on there, or Tom Holland as Spider-Man.
Yes,
yeah,
correct.
But he's on Tony Stark's team.
Correct, because Tony Stark recruits him.
Yep.
Ant-Man is on, like, Captain America's team, you know, because he recruits him. Falcon's on his team as well, you know, so it's very split, and it's, like, huge. I mean, it's a culminating. And it's kind of a gripe with the MCU fan base. It's labeled as Captain America 3, but really it's an Avengers movie. But they needed another Captain America because all the big ones, it's like an unwritten rule. All these characters get a trilogy. And this is Captain America's third movie.
I see.
You know what I mean? Because
Yep.
Iron Man had 3. Thor's about to have his third one. So it's a whole thing.
I think he already has his third one. Love and Thunder.
Well, they're on to 4 now because they broke that.
Oh, okay.
They broke
Yeah.
that. Yeah. But in Thor Ragnarok's coming up, and that's Thor 3.
Yep.
So Captain America Civil War. Then the next one we get is Doctor Strange with Benedict Cumberbatch.
Ooh.
And I remember that one being really cool. Right?
Oh, yeah. It's my favorite.
Yeah. And so he becomes a master sorcerer.
Love him.
And so he's in charge of the New York Sanctum, which makes him kind of the leader. And then there's the London Sanctum and then the Hong Kong Sanctum. And it kind of forms a mystical arts protection around the earth, right?
Yep.
And that's actually, it's funny, one of the Easter eggs there is, since Benedict Cumberbatch also plays Sherlock Holmes, the address on the Sanctum Sanctorum in the New York Sanctum is very similar to the
Sherlock Holmes one. Oh, cool.
It's supposed to mirror it, and it's just a little
Dude,
Easter
now that
egg.
I'm thinking about it, too, Robert Downey Jr. was also Sherlock Holmes. So there's a lot of Sherlock Holmes overlap in
Correct.
the MCU.
Yeah.
Interesting. But then also, this is when you see the fifth stone, Time Stone. Would have been this movie, right? Because that's the whole shtick at the end.
Correct. Yep.
So this is your fifth stone.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep. It's the fifth stone, so now we've number 5. But to go off your point, Sherlock Holmes, has been Robert Downey Jr. and Benedict Cumberbatch, but also both of their Watsons are now are in the MCU.
Oh, really?
So Benedict Cumberbatch's was Martin Freeman, who plays Bilbo Baggins.
Yep.
And he comes in. He's one of the
Black Panther.
Yep, he's in Black Panther. And then Robert Downey Jr.'s is Jude Law, and he turns out to be the bad guy in Captain Marvel.
Okay.
He's a Kree.
Oh, gotcha.
Mm-hmm. But up until then, that was a whole joke. They're like, we just need Jude Law in. So, and
then
he got him.
You gotta do the I was about to say trifecta, but the quadfecta. Yeah, get all 4 of them in.
So yeah, like you said, now we're up to 5. We've got 5 stones, but they are all relatively protected, right? So we have identified them. But we're starting to figure out. We see little snippets of Thanos, the big bad guy, in the after credit scenes.
Yep.
So we know he's ruin of army, as well as Loki's there trying to manipulate him. It's kind of like a Sauron situation. Oh. Loki thinks he's going to be able to outsmart Thanos, just like Saruman thought he could outsmart Sauron. Yeah. But it's really not.
Yeah.
So,
no Grim or Wormtongue in there?
No, yeah. So yeah, after Doctor Strange, we move into Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. So we explore a little bit more of their realm. After that, we got Spider-Man Homecoming. So this is going to be the first standalone Tom Holland movie. And this is after a lot of back and forth and working between Disney and Sony, because Sony didn't want to give up the rights to it.
Yep.
So the reason at this point we haven't had another independent Hulk film is because Universal Pictures didn't want to play ball like Sony did. So they agreed that Hulk could be
only in adventure movies, right?
He could be a supporting character.
Oh,
because he's in Thor Ragnarok as well.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, because he's one of the gladiators.
But he can't be the title character because it's not owned by Disney.
Oh, and She-Hulk. Oh my gosh, because that's the TV series, but he's in it.
Yep. And so he can't be the title.
Gotcha. Interesting. Okay.
But Sony decided.
God, that's gotta suck for that. I mean, it's cool to be in the MCU, but can you imagine being like literally the only thing preventing you and a really cool movie is just. I guess that's for all actors, but it's just corporate.
So it's actually really funny too, because if you go to the Disney World parks and you see the Avengers and stuff, Hulk and Spider-Man are not there because they're not owned by Disney, so they can't be there. So that's why Universal Studios they have a whole Hulk section there.
Yeah, and the reason why I got excited when you said that is because when you go to Universal, there is only there's a Hulk ride.
Yeah,
comic book Hulk, like where you saw like the gamma radiation.
Yeah.
Blah blah. It's really funny because it has nothing to do with this new character. It's not even the new look of Hulk. It's literally like OG comic book Hulk.
Yeah,
I guess they have the Spider-Man animatronic, but that's about it I can think of.
Yeah,
and
so with Disney, they managed to work something out with Sony, but Universal just refuses
no way.
to play. Yeah, they've got their things and they keep it close to the chest.
Exactly.
But anyway, so after Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and Spider-Man Homecoming, we got Thor 3. Now, this was probably one of my favorite movies because this is when they started adding like a little bit of humor to it, right? Mm-hmm. Now it's gotten a little too much, but this is the first iteration of it. So, like, Thor was just spot on with his jokes, and it was good. And plus, he's kind of a comedic relief character in general. So,
and Carl Urban was in this too.
Carl Urban was in it.
I like this guy. Yeah. I really like Carl Urban.
Yeah, no, he's good. His character... I think he's called the Butcher. I think that's what his character name is.
That's in The Boys.
Yeah. Oh, is it The Boys?
Yeah, The Boys
that's
is
his
Butcher.
That's
Billy Butcher.
Yeah.
Because right when you said that, I was like, there's no way they're both Butcher.
That
It'd
could
be
be
really funny. But no, I really like that too. And I like how much like mythology they went into and all this backstory and the darkness and what's going on.
Well, this one is particular favorite, and so I've got introduces Hela, the goddess of death, and she's on my villain squad.
Yeah.
So we can talk more about her when we get down there. But yeah, she is.
And Galadriel.
Kate Blanchett. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Dang, that was a good call.
I know, right?
Okay, I'm excited for your list now. I'm really excited for your list.
So this one's important too because Ragnarok in Norse mythology is the end of the world. It's apocalypse.
Oh.
And in this movie, Asgard gets destroyed.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the sword guy is so cool too.
Oh yeah.
The guardian of that, the portals.
Heimdall.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's cool.
Gosh, that's so cool.
But in this, Loki is helping. So Loki throughout the movies, he goes back and forth of being good, bad. He really doesn't know.
Yeah.
Until the Loki TV show, which is very good. And I can't plug that one enough because the last season was great, I think. But
wow.
I don't want to give too much away on that TV show. But so at the end of Ragnarok, Loki goes in and he steals the Tesseract before it gets destroyed. Now he's got a bargaining chip with Thanos because he's up to his old tricks again.
Yeah.
You never know what side Loki's on.
It's a power play.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's always got to be on top. So after that, we introduced to Black Panther.
Great movie.
Yep. May he rest in peace. The actor has passed.
Yeah.
Chadwick Boseman. Then we have Avengers Infinity War. So now this is where we see Thanos come in and frack stuff up.
Yeah. Good catch.
Thank
you.
Yeah. So here he collects all the stones, right?
Oh,
so he goes.
That gauntlet, you see it for the first time too. I don't know if it was the first time, but you see that gauntlet, you're like, oh.
Well,
sweet.
here he attacks. So like Thor's with the Guardians, and he attacks the ship. He gets the Tesseract from Loki in hopes to try to save his brother, but it didn't work. It's a whole thing. So now he's got the Tesseract.
First stone.
He gets that. He gets the first
first
stone.
one. Yeah.
And I'm not
Which
sure.
is honestly the first stone you see in the movie. Like
Correct.
the first one they introduces.
Yeah.
Did they go in chronological order?
They don't, and so that's why I don't remember the exact order. But he goes to the collector at some point, and he just kind of destroys his whole thing because he knows it's there.
Yep.
So he gets that, and there he's attacking.
And that's the Reality Stone.
It's the Reality Stone.
Mm-hmm.
And so he fights the Guardians of the Galaxy there.
Yeah,
and
I remember that.
knocks him out. The Power Stone, he just destroys the Nova Core planet, gets it from there. The
Time Stone, he just
Time Stone
gives it.
So they tried to ambush him. This one is actually really interesting because it's Doctor Strange.
I love
Right?
it.
So they try to ambush him on his home world of Titan.
Oh, because he's a Titan. I forgot about that.
Correct. And the only reason he gets the Time Stone is because Doctor Strange looks into the future and
Trillion combinations.
scans all these possible outputs. There's only one, and we don't know what it is, and he can't tell us because apparently if he tells us, then that one scenario goes away.
Mm-hmm.
But it included him giving up the Time Stone.
Yeah, it was the only way that they could beat him.
Correct.
Which
And this was one of the steps.
counterintuitively would be giving him the stone.
Correct. And, Tony Stark's very against it. Everyone that was there, very, very much against it. But they're kind of trapped there now because he gets the Time Stone and then he just kind of disappears. Now, they eventually get saved from Titan and those Avengers come back. The Soul Stone is the one that we haven't had yet, but they were able to figure out it's hidden on the planet Vormir.
Cool planet name.
And turns out Red Skull, because he tried to defy the Infinity Stones, punished him by making him kind of the gatekeeper of Vormir.
I was about to
for
say,
anyone to come to visit.
Elrond?
Yeah.
There's so many Lord of the Rings
there is,
characters.
there is.
Okay, yeah, but Elrond's Red Skull.
So I'm not going to spoil who it is, but there is someone that's very close to him. And I'm not going to spoil it. 'cause I
Him
haven't-
meaning
Thanos. So you have to
Thanos.
give a sacrifice to the planet Vormir in order to receive the Soul Stone. So he sacrifices someone very close to him to receive it. Now he's got 5 stones, and the only one left he needs is the Mind Stone. So they all try to stop him. They all rushing to attack him, but Vision's got it. And it's actually a really heart-wrenching scene because Vision and Scarlet Witch start a relationship together, and he pretty much just crushes his face. Thanos crushes Vision's face in front of
yeah,
Scarlet Witch.
to get the stone. Yeah.
And so Scarlet Witch is very overpowered. She's got massive power, massive strength, but now that Thanos has all 6 stones, he kind of just squashes her like a bug.
Yeah, well, I mean, at this point, he's dealing with so much, yeah.
So now he's got all of a sudden he does a snap. Half of the world has disappeared now.
Yep.
That was his whole mission. He thought the whole universe was getting overrun, so he decided to eliminate half the population.
So, really big shout out. And after this, I'll text her and tell her that I brought her up on the podcast. I think she'll be elated. But super cool. My coworker, when I was in Florida, I shared an office with her. Her name was Stephanie. She was a huge, huge, huge comic book fan. Turns out that the MCU is showing Thanos as this. He sees himself as a good guy because he is helping the rest of the universe out due to supply and demand, or with the access of resources. I'm gonna wipe out half the people so then they can live in harmony. That's the whole shtick, right? That's his morally, what he's good with. Mm-hmm. In the comic books, apparently that's not the case at all.
Oh, okay.
He's trying to please. I don't know if it's the goddess, god, or if there's any gender associated with it, but he's trying to please Death. Death is I think it is goddess because it's a girl, yeah. Mm-hmm. But so the whole point is that the goddess of death. And I'm so sorry, Stephanie, if I'm butchering this. This is like memory from 3 years ago. You just unlocked in my brain.
Yeah.
But the whole point is that the goddess of death, he's just infatuated with her, and he wants to please her. And the whole shtick is that he's just like, the only way to please her is to give her something great. What's better than half of the entire population of the entire planets in the entire universe in the entire across the board? What is better? What's a better platter? Mm-hmm. And that's where it kind of gets his spark going. And just even for a funnier side, the goddess of death is actually infatuated with Deadpool because they can never be together because Deadpool can't die. And there's this whole weird love triangle, and apparently the comic books, there's quite a bit. And this might be one version of the comics, whatever. And once again, Stephanie, I totally apologize if I'm butchering this. Please let me know, and I can add it in the show notes what the real story is. But I'm pretty sure, if my memory serves me correct, it's actually to please the goddess of death, not this, anti-hero. I don't even know if you want to call it anti-hero, but this weird ideology of, hey, if I take out half the people, the resources will be better and people have a better chance of survival. I thought that was really interesting.
Definitely interesting because it's completely different from
the
movies, right? So, and that's the movies take a lot of things from the comics, but they wanted to be different as well, right? And so they didn't want to be 100% predictable. I think.
And with the multiverse, you can just snap your fingers and
correct,
it's all different.
correct, which we're gonna get to. So Infinity War is over. It's 2018 in the MCU. Half the world's gone. They don't really know how to recover from this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, after that, you have Ant-Man and the Wasp. At the end of Infinity War, we see, Captain Marvel was released first, but that was set in 1995.
Oh, okay.
But they had to introduce her because she's in Avengers Endgame. But we haven't seen her since because she's off trying to secure homeworlds for the Skrull people.
Yep.
And you see that in the movie. But after we have Ant-Man and the Wasp, they are doing a quantum experiment, and Ant-Man is in the quantum realm. But Hank, his wife, and Hope, Pym, all get blipped. And so now Ant-Man is stuck in the quantum realm.
Oh, no one can pull him out.
No one can pull him out. So because he's stuck in the quantum realm, everyone thought he died in the blip too.
Gotcha.
But he's still alive. He's floating around in the quantum realm.
I'm also assuming like time's dilated or constrict, like meaning
Correct.
like he's not experiencing time as we are.
Yes, exactly. So he comes back.
Now remembering, he comes back because he's just like, what the heck happened? And then he sees all the people who've died in the last, 5
Correct.
whatever years.
The quantum realm is tricky, and so at some point it just kind of spat him out. For him, it was like 20 minutes, 25 minutes. I can't remember the time length, but it had been 5 years. So the time skip is 5 years between Infinity War and Endgame, and a lot of people have given up. The remaining heroes have given up. We see Thor has become huge. He's got
big
beard,
love that
right?
scene.
So they're all despondent.
They're playing Fortnite and
Yeah.
drinking beers
Yeah.
and eating pizza. Oh, yeah.
But Endgame is awesome. This is where it's the big bad fight against Thanos, right? They're actually fighting a past Thanos because they go and kill their present day Thanos in the beginning of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
It's a whole thing, and it's like a time jump thing. You see Captain America use weapons he's never used before.
Sweet.
Thor makes his own brand new battle axe. It's Stormbreaker.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so much better.
It is amazing, and it is actually one of, if not the highest grossing movies of all time.
Oh, yeah, big time.
I think it is the highest grossing movie, and it overtook Avatar.
So let's say Avatar 1 was probably...
And it's really funny that Zoe Saldana, who plays Gamora from Guardians of the Galaxy and the MCU, and she's also, I can't remember her character name from Avatar,
one of the Navi.
but she is in one of the Navi. But
Yeah.
she is in both of the top grossing movies ever.
Which is insane to think
So
about.
the amount of money she probably has is,
Yeah, probably pretty good.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, depending on her contracts, right?
That's true.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
Yeah.
But it's funny that it's,
Because if it's just like a flat fee, you know what I mean, then it's only X amount. But I thought, she's like in the crazy amount.
Yeah.
I think she's like 3 or 4 of the top 10 or 15, something crazy.
Yeah. So she's in good movies, right?
Also, Lieutenant Uhura in the new Star Trek movies.
True. But they're not up there. They're not on the...
Oh, no. God, no. Mark, that hurt me. Being truthful there hurt me. No,
Yeah, I know.
they're not. Star Trek has never done well on any movie.
Yeah.
Any movie they've released has always done historically horrible. Until, like the J.J. Abrams, they did relatively okay, but yeah. Rather Khan was probably good. But this is not me crapping on Star... This is, outside of my opinion, I'm just giving the facts. Like, they all got, very bad reviews.
Right.
Which is kind of stinks because they had a lot of potential.
Yeah. So Avengers Endgame comes to a close. They defeat the big bad guy. And I'm not going to tell you exactly how because that was the one way. So if you haven't watched the MCU, I want you to go watch it. But I will say that it ends 2 of the biggest characters, most well-loved characters. It brings their MCU career to a close.
Sorry, one more side comment. They deliver one of my most favorite science jargon lines of all time. Tony Stark says it, and they're trying to figure out time travel and all that fun stuff. But he says, invert the Mobius strip. And I don't know, it's like invert the Mobius strip and take the eigenvalue at whatever.
Yeah.
Once again, this is just me memorized. I could look it up, but it was just very funny because I'm sitting there and I'm like, what the heck are they even? That's the whole point of a Mobius strip. You can't invert it. Yeah, it is what it is. And it has no beginning, no end. I don't know. I just thought it was funny because it was probably one of my favorite lines of all time. It's like, hey, we're playing football. It's like, wow, that was such a great. See, I can't even think of sports term. That was such a great home run. It's
Right.
like, what? What are you talking about?
So it's funny. One of the kind of common misconceptions in Endgame, Tony Stark says to his daughter, "I love you 3000." And there was kind of a couple of different reports on where that came from. It used now as if you're a big Marvel fan, you just say, "I love you 3000." Some people thought it was because there was 3,000 hours of Marvel movie material at this point or something like that.
Yeah.
But it turns out I Love You 3000 is something that Robert Downey Jr. and his kids say to each other. And it wasn't written in the script, and he just said it to his on-screen daughter. Mm-hmm. And then the directors liked it so much that they just kept it in.
Cool.
And now it's I Love You 3000 is a common, like I said, MCU nerd phrase,
Yeah. Probably tattooed on a lot of different
I'm sure.
body parts and stuff. Yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah, so then all the people, not just superheroes, all the people that were blipped away for 5 years come back. Now, we don't see it in this movie, we see it in future TV shows, but that brings up a whole bunch of problems because they come back at the same spot that they left.
Yeah.
But to them, no time has passed, but it's been 5 years.
Did you see a lot of the memes from that?
Oh, yeah.
What about everyone on a plane? You just plummet. You know what I mean? It's like, what the heck?
And so we see to finish out Phase 3, there's a Spider-Man 2 Far From Home, and it's him kind of coming back and dealing with things. In this movie, his identity gets revealed, and Mysterio's in this movie. But yeah, he's one of the things because he's got to do high school. Now, they made it convenient that the main characters from Spider-Man 1 also got blipped, so they're all doing high school together. But in reality, you would think that like his MJ should be 5 years older and is out of high school.
Yeah,
but they didn't want to make it weird, you know what I mean? So
we'll just blip them together.
Yeah. So that caps it for the Infinity Saga. That closes Phase 3. So yeah, that was Saga 1, Tony. I mean, did all that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and I'm shocked when you're going through the list. I actually watched a lot more movies than I gave myself credit. Yeah. I think when we do touch Saga 2, I think that's where my knowledge is going to go down.
Mm-hmm. Cool. With that, we were going to talk about our favorite heroes. We were going to build like a 5-man squad. So I've been doing a lot of talking, Tony, so why don't you take us through your 5 heroes, and then I'll talk about mine.
Mark, I totally appreciate all that information. And yeah, let's get right into the heroes. So I did quite a bit of work with this one because I didn't want to necessarily do heroes that I've seen in kind of the mainstream MCU. I felt since I was a comic book expert, I put expert very loosely.
Yeah.
But since I was a comic book aficionado in the room, I thought, hey, might as well just try to shoot for the fences. And now looking at my list, I probably shouldn't have talked myself up so much because I do still have some of the main characters. Mm-hmm. But the first and foremost of the heroes that I chose was Thor. Thor has always been my favorite character.
Yeah.
And it all started with Marvel Ultimate Alliance, Xbox video game.
Yeah.
So picture this, where young men, probably, I don't know, 8th grade?
Yeah.
Younger?
Like that. Yeah.
Probably younger.
Yeah.
Crazy to think about. But I was probably staying at Mark's house way too much. Thank you, Aunt Amy. I totally appreciate it. I was staying at Mark's house way too much, and we would stay up so late playing this game, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, and I always chose Thor. He was such a cool... He could fly. He had blue lightning across him. Even though he's got thunder. All this super cool. So I really enjoy Thor. I also enjoy kind of that Norse mythology and like this pantheon of God and characters, and I really like what they did. Chris Hemsworth's a great guy. I think he's good. I think he played a really good Thor, but like that's not what drew me. I think the character in and of itself was so good. But man, he delivers some of those lines so good.
He really does.
And we mentioned the whole Carl Urban in that was Thor Ragnarok?
Thor Ragnarok.
Okay,
yeah.
thank you. Yeah, just the comedy in it and the mix of the guns. It was such a good movie that I found myself constantly smiling. So relative to the heroes, I kind of have this is my only one where it was just a soft spot for me, right? It's not really a power thing. It's just, I love Thor.
Yeah.
I got to keep Thor. Now, let's get to the big guns, and let's focus up here, Mark.
All right,
it's all power now. I'm going all gas, no brakes. So, first one, Doctor Strange. Once again, he's my boy. I love him. And when reading his comic books, it was just so cool because showing the abilities of these magic users is amazing. So granted, Marvel has hundreds of millions of dollars invested in CGI and all this other stuff, and they do a great job showing it in the movies, but seeing it also in the comics is super cool. I mean, even the old comics, like the original, Stanley did all the comics, but most of the comics, but the original ones where, I think the comic book issues I was reading were like thousands of dollars, crazy amount of dollars, but since it's Marvel Unlimited app, you just read them digitally.
Yeah.
So I was like reading these books or comic books that were, I think, double my age, something crazy.
Yeah, sure.
So made me feel young. That was kind of cool. But yeah, seeing like just the potential and raw power of these magic users. I had to put Doctor Strange up there.
I mean, yeah.
Super cool. Super cool. So just on a sheer abilities level and his cloak and all the different like trinkets and everything, and the fact that he can turn ordinary objects, and the comic books go over this a little bit more, like bending magic into ordinary objects, and then they start talking about how the Great Forge works, and it's just super cool. So I think he has so much potential, just sheer power level wise. This is more of magic. I also feel like he's a little bit squishy, right? You punch him, he's human.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, he is human.
Right.
So he's a little squishy. So now just thinking of raw magic power, how do I round out my team? Right? What do I need to do? And I thought, man, we have to have the brains of the operation. Gotta go Dr. Xavier.
Professor X.
Professor X, yeah. Wait, Dr. Xavier. Right, Professor X? Same
Yeah,
thing?
I think he's a doctor, but he goes by
Professor X?
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? That is a great question. I think he has a PhD. I'd be shocked if he doesn't.
Yeah, I would imagine he does, yeah. And
I hope so.
Doctor Strange is actually an MD, not a PhD, because he's a surgeon.
Oh, correct. Yeah, but
Yeah.
MD.
Yeah.
It's the whole, oh my gosh. Brooklyn Nine-Nine, they co-opted the
Yeah.
term doctor.
Yeah.
It's a doctorate.
Yeah.
Oh, I love, dude, may he rest in peace too.
Oh,
my
yeah,
gosh.
Andre
yeah.
Brogger,
Yeah, I don't know how to
the
pronounce
captain. Yeah.
him. Oh, he was such a good, beautiful. I loved him in that.
Yeah.
So, Professor X, sorry, I don't know. I think he has a doctorate. Hopefully I didn't, give him a little bit more prop than needed. But so once again, Sir Patrick Stewart, soft spot in my heart. But outside of the soft spot, just pure ability wise, he is so solid. Like the fact that he has telekinetics, telepathy, and his ability to kind of go in and shape. You kind of have a constant communication source because he can just phone everybody in. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Now, granted, it's a little bit like playing telephone, but still, I mean, he can phone everybody in. There's just a lot of utility coming out of that mind player. Do I feel like he's going to be really crazy in a fight? Not necessarily, but is he going to outsource and outthink all these problems in a really unique way? I think he's got that covered. So
Yeah.
I think he's really good to have the brains of the operation. Deadpool, you have to have comic relief.
Oh,
but
yeah.
also his healing factor and everything. I mean, I think he's going to be hard to control, but controlled chaos is better to have it on your side than not on my side.
And he's technically an anti-hero, but yeah,
Yeah,
I'll give it to you.
So I did a couple honorable mentions.
I've got
He
a couple
was-
anti-heroes too. so
Okay,
it's
yeah. I did a couple honorable mentions for this one, especially for my heroes. But I'll get to that. So that's my number 4.
Mm-hmm.
Number 5 is the Impossible Man. Kind of forgot he existed.
Yeah.
But I started looking into stuff. Do you know who the Impossible Man is?
No, I'm unfamiliar.
Okay, so comic book guy. And he really hassles. Once again, he's not necessarily like a straight up hero. He's not necessarily a straight up villain. But he just kind of harasses the Fantastic Four. But he does help out. I mean, he's not technically a villain. But the whole point is that he has complete control over his molecular structure. Jeez, I can't barely say the word.
Yeah.
The whole point is that it's like reality warping. It's almost like a scroll, but like times 10 billion. Like he can just turn himself into a warp capable ship and launch out of there. So like the utility is insane.
Yeah.
Right? And so now I'm getting to my honorable mentions because originally I was going to put Silver Surfer here. Now he's a real big, hero, anti-hero, villain kind of, because originally, I mean, if you way back when we had the original Fantastic, maybe not the original, but one of the Fantastic Four runs, Silver Surfer was like the big main guy, right?
Yeah.
He was like, I'm gonna wipe out the world. Well, they're like, no, you shouldn't do that. But the abilities of the Silver Surfer is just so cool. The fact that, once again, there's teleportation, he's manipulating his body, everything, phasing in and out. Other thing too, he's like total cosmic awareness, meaning he's just tuned in on everything. So if he wants to act any way, he can. Kind of almost like this omnipotence,
Yeah.
so to speak. I don't know if they use the actual term omnipotence, but they call it cosmic awareness in the comic books at least.
Gotcha.
So he's super cool. The other honorable mention, which we will hopefully bring up in a future episode, is WandaVision. Wanda.
Yeah, Scarlet Witch.
Scarlet Witch. Jeez, I said WandaVision, I did all that, but that's the next, right?
Yeah.
See, it's because we didn't cover it today, Mark.
Yeah.
We'll get it. Yeah. But going back to that, the whole thing is Scarlet Witch. She was a little bit of an anti-hero. Well, she's a hero.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that later on. But that kind of made her, whatever. But she is such a power player. Oh my goodness, she's gonna help you out.
Yep.
There's
absolutely.
so much that she can do. It's another magic wielder. I did go a little magic heavy here. and there's not really much of a raw strength other than like Thor. But still, I think I got a pretty intelligent, sly, magical team. I'd feel pretty confident that I could solve a lot of the world's problems without doing a lot of damage. The taxpayers are going to thank me.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
Right? I'm thinking of Uncle Sam, baby.
Thunderbolt Ross is not going to make you sign that treaty.
No way. We're going under the radar, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be perfect. So I'm just thinking of the American people
Okay, that's good.
and also other countries' people because. Yeah, how did that jurisdiction even work?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, who knows? All right. We're not getting into the geopolitics of all this, but yeah, so. Mark, do you have kind of a similar list, or were you kind of having the same thought process? I love when we say just top 5 heroes because we both kind of take it in different directions.
Yes.
Did you take it in a different direction? Or?
Well, similar. I didn't think so much of rounding out the team. I just kind of listed kind of my favorite.
Oh,
heroes.
okay.
But it's a good segue because Scarlet Witch is actually on my team. So
Really?
she was an honorable mention for you, but she made the list for me. Because like you said, she's just so overpowered.
Oh, my gosh.
The amount of strength she has and the abilities.
Bending reality.
She just had to be.
Oh,
on
my
it.
gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
Bad day to be around her, though.
Mm-hmm.
And if she's having a bad day, really bad day for
Yes.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to stay on her good side. So, like you, though, I did think back to Marvel Ultimate Alliance and just like what characters I really liked.
Love it.
So, my favorite character on that game was Ghost Rider.
Oh, you're right. We didn't even bring this up.
It's technically
not MCU?
not in the MCU.
Oh, that is a
right?
shame.
But I love Nick Cage, and therefore it just adds to the whole thing. But yeah,
Exactly.
technically not MCU. However, Nick Cage has said he would love to reprise the role in the MCU.
Oh my gosh. And you have that crazy, the Graveyard Warden.
Oh, Sam Elliott.
Yeah. Oh,
And
having him
he's
explain
good.
stuff.
Yeah.
And the contract was hitting the shovel the whole time. Oh, what a good movie.
It is a good movie.
Honestly, I hope it holds up.
Yeah.
I'd like to watch it again.
Oh, yeah.
But, dude, great first pick. Marvel Alliance pick, too.
Yep. I mean, he's got the flaming chains,
Yeah, that
flaming
was
skull. He can stare into your soul. He's a little bit of an anti-hero too, but he's awesome.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Next, Hulk, but also more like Professor Hulk. So you got the brains and the strength. You know
He
what I
definitely
mean?
has multiple PhDs. They talk about it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So this is the best of both worlds you get.
So more like Bruce Banner.
Yeah, so Professor Hulk, we see him in, I think it's in Endgame we see him. Or maybe later. But anyway, he's fully Hulk form, but he's got the mind of Bruce Banner.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Sorry. I thought you were making a distinction. Yeah, okay. A hybrid form almost. But yeah, exactly. That was in Endgame, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, we do see it. It's after Infinity War. Yeah.
Cool. No, that's solid because he's still in control.
Next, I have Storm.
Yeah.
Kind of like Thor, but she can control all sorts of weather. I mean,
Yeah.
That's
Oh
what
my gosh.
And she's so powerful. She actually in the comics marries Black Panther.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Man, and then also like her flight ability too.
Oh yeah, she
I mean,
can fly.
it's crazy.
Thor can fly too, but
Yeah, but his is like the help from Mjolnir and
Yeah, that's
stuff
true.
like that.
I mean, hers is the gust of wind that's bringing
You're
her up.
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're kind of similar, but she is still super powerful. you know?
Yeah.
Then the last one on my list, really cool. Another X-Men anti-hero, Nightcrawler.
Oh, dude, you're doing Marvel Alliance. That was almost literally Marvel Alliance.
Literally, except
Yeah.
Professor Hulk. I mean, Hulk is on Ultimate Alliance, but not Professor.
Yeah, and the Thing.
So yeah, the Thing. They're pretty much the same.
Same. Yeah.
I don't know if Scarlet Witch was on. I can't remember, but
I don't remember. I don't
Yeah.
think so, but that is really funny though. Nightcrawler was.
Yeah.
He was like the Deadpool almost equivalent.
correct. Well, and he was a downloadable character.
DLC.
Oh, yeah,
Wow, we were
yes.
grinding back then.
Oh yeah.
Oh dang.
But
All right.
Nightcrawler's so cool. I mean, his ability to teleport and reappear at random.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean?
He does have one up on Deadpool for that.
Yeah.
Because Deadpool doesn't have teleportation. He just.
Correct.
He
I mean,
just is.
he's basically a little demon. I mean, he's the offspring of Azazel. I think that's how but he's a demon of some sort
Okay.
and Mystique. So
Oh, really? I didn't know they had a baby.
yeah,
So does he have shape changing abilities, like Mystique?
I don't think so. I think he
Okay.
he gets the blue skin from her.
Oh
And then
yeah,
he
I
can-
forgot he's
yeah.
blue.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
surprisingly, my list had not many blue people. Doctor Strange has a really cool blue. In the Multiverse of Madness, he has a really cool blue robe.
Oh,
I do
yeah.
like the red; it's classic.
Yeah.
But when they do the one,
yeah,
the
one version, yeah.
Oh gosh, I love that version.
yeah. So
But
yeah. So that's my list. I mean,
yeah, no,
I think both of us have pretty solid lists.
I think we're going to be good. I think overall, though, I really like the fact that you said Professor Hulk because once again, I think you're good for the taxpayer too.
Yeah,
I really don't feel like you're going to be coming in there.
because he's not
Wrecking
savage.
stuff.
Yeah, if
He's gonna be calculated.
If he's wrecking, it'll be with a purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's doing the kinematics in his head.
Mm-hmm.
He's figuring out, a ballista going at this rate,
Yeah.
how can I arc this over?
The crazy one, I don't think Ghost Rider is going to really care much for the buildings. He's not gonna take care. He's just gonna start.
Yeah, he's your biggest wild card, but at the
Yeah.
same time too, you gotta respect it.
Oh yeah, for sure. You
But
got to
then
have
you have
one.
Scarlet Witch. You have Scarlet Witch. That's the other thing too. It's kind of funny when you really think about
She
the
could
taxpayer.
technically-
She could fix everything.
Yeah, exactly.
What
Yeah.
the heck?
So we're good.
Yeah. Okay, you're probably better than me. I have no one to fix it. I guess Impossible Man, but that mean he'd leave part of his body? Yeah, you're right. You know what, Mark? You have a good erasure if you need to.
Yes.
But yeah, no, other than that, do you have anything else with your top heroes? I think I'm feeling
we
pretty
covered
solid.
it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I wouldn't want to go head to head with either of these lists, so
Nope, I agree. All right, well, I think that's it, Tony. So everyone, thanks for listening. As always, please reach out to us with questions, mix-ups, and what-if ideas.
absolutely. And if you want to reach out with us, please reach out on Instagram or X, Twitter, with the Live, Laugh, Lore Pod. Or you could also email us at livelaughLorePod@gmail.com. That's livelaughLorePod, POD, @gmail.com.
Thanks, guys.